Good to see. It's been long, very long. Next week, I know you do not want us to meet very early in the morning, but for the sake, those who will miss, we choose one day. Either Tuesday or Wednesday, we meet early morning. Those who miss, they'll get the video. Kindly. Which question did I leave? Where did I leave? Which question did I particularly say? Yes, let me pick that question. So that was August 2024. August 2024. We have it as August 2024. We have it as question 5. Tafadhali. So August question 5C. So we have to do 2 questions is when you introduce VAT and then we introduce VAT. So we are being told that smart boot, the examiner tells us the smart boot, limited commenced manufacturing of leather shoes, commenced manufacturing of the leather shoes, commenced manufacturing of what they call the leather shoes, commenced manufacturing of the leather shoes on 2nd January 2022. On 2nd January 2022. Incurring the following expenditure. Incurring the following expenditure. So number 1 is the factory building. What does it qualify for? Factory building. Factory building. Factory building. So that is ID at 50%. So the next is the processing machine. Processing machine. Processing machine. The next is processing machine, 50%. That should also be ID. Then we have computers. We have the computers. Computers. What happens to the computer? That's 25%. Then the next is conveyor belt. Conveyor belt. Conveyor belt, 50%. Conveyor belt is machines that are used to support manufacturing. Then we have the next, we have what we call staff canteen. Staff canteen. Staff canteen. Staff canteen. That is 10% IBT. Then we have the next, what we call sewerage system. We call it the sewerage system. Sewerage system. That is 50% for the sewerage system. Then we move to the generator. Generator is ID because this is manufacturing. That should be 50%. Generator should be 50%. Then we have the go down. Go down. That is 10% for the go down. That should be 10%. Go down is basically 10%. We say that go down is 10%. Go down is 10%. Heating plant. Heating plant. Heating plant. Heating plant. That should be 50%. That is manufacturing. Then you have the next, that is lorry. Lorry should be. Lorry should be. Lorry should be 25%. Then you have the next, that is sports pavilion. Sports pavilion. Sports pavilion. Sports pavilion. That should be 10%. Those are structures for the welfare of employees. Then finally, we have the loose tools. Where does loose tools go to? Loose tools. Where does the loose tool go to? It goes to wear and tear 10%. Those items that used to be under DIV, we take them to 10%. We take them to 10%. So that's okay. Are we together on that analysis? If you're together, we respond with a yes. Tuko sawa. If we are together, we respond with a yes. Kindly, we respond with a yes. Perfect. I need all of you. I cannot move minus you. So look at those items. Those items particularly touches on 2020, 2022. Then the examiner tells us that the company purchased the following. That the company basically purchased the following. The company purchased the following on 1st January 2023. We have furniture. Furniture will be 2023. Remember that is 2023, 10%. Then we have saloon car. What happens to that saloon car? What happens to that saloon car? And at what rate do we use? Saloon car is wear and tear 25%. What do you do to it, Joy? We are going to restrict. The value is more than 3 million, so we restrict. We restrict. The next is boiler. Where does the boiler go to? What is the rate of investment allowance for the boiler? The rate of investment allowance for the boilers. The rate of investment allowance for the boiler. The rate for the investment, 50%, 50%, 50%. Then we have the next what we call scanners. 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 That should be 25%. Then you have the packaging machine. Packaging machine. Packaging machine. Packaging machine. That should be 50%. Thank you so much. Then you have the staff clinic. The staff clinic was constructed at a cost of 2,080,000 and utilized with effect from 1st October 2023. So where does the staff clinic go to? Staff clinic, where does it go to? Staff clinic, Joy, think again. Staff clinic, that is IBD, 10%. 10%. But you don't apportion. Don't apportion. Don't apportion. You claim the whole amount. Then you're being told that a borehole was drilled at a cost of shillings 800,000 and utilized. The examiner tells us utilized from July. Where does the borehole go to? Where does the borehole basically go to? 50%. So then you're being told a delivery van was involved in an accident that is on 1st March 2023 and was written off. A delivery van was involved in an insurance and was written off. The insurance compensation was 1.4 as full compensation. The insurance compensation was 1.4 as a full compensation on 1st December 2023. How do you treat that compensation? That compensation, how do we basically treat it? How do we treat it? How do we treat that compensation? So that's the disposal value. That is a disposal value together. That is a disposal value together. That is a disposal value. So then we're being told a perimeter wall was constructed at a cost of 1.2 million and put to use from 1st July 2023. And put to use from 1st July 2023. And put to use in July and put to use on July 2023. How do you treat the perimeter wall? We claim investment allowance at what rate? At what rate? Tuchangamke kidogo. We cheer up, that is 50%. So the examiner tells us compute investment allowance due to smart boot manufacturing for the year ended 31st December 2022 and 2023. So this one runs for 2 years. This one runs for 2 years. So I start with the smart boot. I call it the Smart Boot. Smart Boot Limited. Limited. We call it investment. Investment allowance. We call it for 2020, for 2023 together. Investment allowance for 2023. So I'm not going to separate it. This method, I want to summarize everything. So we start with the nature of item. We call it nature for 2022, sorry. We start with 2022. Nature of what we call of item. Nature of the item. We have qualifying amount. Qualifying amount. Investment. Investment. Investment allowance. Investment allowance rate. Investment allowance rate. Then you have the investment. Investment allowance. Then we have the investment allowance. Then we have down here as residual. Residual. So together. So 2022, the first item that you have is the factory building. Factory building. So the qualifying amount is 14,640. That's Kuera Tafadhali. The rate is 50% for the first year. So what is the investment allowance? 50% for the first year. What is the investment allowance? What is the investment allowance? If that is 50% for the first year. So what is the investment allowance? What is the investment allowance? What is the investment allowance? So that should be 7. So that should be 73. So the balance is that. So then we get to the next processing machine. Machinery. So processing machinery, we have it having a figure of 4712. The rate is 50%. So what is the rate? The rate is 50%. So what is 50% of that? 50% of that. So give me 50% of that. That is 23, 56. 23, 56. So the residual is also 23, 56. So then the next we have computers. Computers. For those who wanted to know, this is ID, this is ID. This is wear and tear, 25%. So computers, we have 384. The rate is 25%. So what is 25% of that? 25% of that. 25% of that. What is 25% of that? So that is 96. So what is the residual? Residual is how much? That is 288. So then the next we have what we call conveyor. Conveyor belt. We have the conveyor belt that should be ID. So conveyor belt is the 1240. The rate is 50%. So what is 50% of that? Mwalimu can try, that should be 620. Is it 620? Is Mwalimu correct? That should be 620. Is that correct? That's perfect. Then we have the staff canteen. So that should be IBT. That's 2 million. So that should be 10%. So 10% in this, that should be 244. So what is the balance? 244, what is the balance? What should be the balance? What should be the balance? Or the residual? When you less that, Mwalimu is waiting for you, that's 2196. So we have 2196. So the next on that item, that is basically delivery van. Delivery van, that should be 125, that is 4160. So the rate is 25%. So what is 25% of that? 25% of that. $10,040. So what is the balance? What is the balance? What is the balance? What is the balance? So that's 31. Perfect. So then we go to the next, we have sewerage system. That's 1280. 1280. That should be 50%. So 50% is the 640. Is Mwalimu correct? That should be 640. Together, team. So then we move to the next. We have generator, because this is manufacturing. Generator. That should be 400. So then we have 50%. So what is 50%? 50%. That should be 200. 200. Perfect. So then we have the next. We have the next, that is what we call a go down. Go down. That should be 2.6. So that is 10%. That should be 260. So what is the balance? What is the figure for the balance? What is the balance? Is that the figure? Perfect. Then you proceed to the next, we have the eating plant. Eating plant. So for the eating plant, that should be 1.4. 50%. This is 700,000. Balance should be 700,000. So we proceed to the next, we have lorry. So lorry. 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 That's 2948. And we understand that that should be 25%. What is 25% of that? 25%, that what should that be the figure? 737. So what is the balance when you get 737? What is the balance? Give me the balance. Give me the balance. So what is the balance? 22, 1100. Perfect. So then we have what we call the sports pavilion. Sports pavilion. That is IBD. That is 1.8. 10%, that should be 180. 10% should be 180. That should be 1620 together. Then the last item is loose tools. So loose tools, that should be 144. So 10%, that should be 14,400. What is the balance? What is the balance? What is the balance on that? What is the balance? What is the balance? So that is 129,600. 129,600. So we have the total investment allowance for 2022. So add for me that very fast, kindly. Add for me that very fast, kindly. Add for me that kindly. So add for me those investment allowance for 2022. Very fast, kindly. So get for me 72, 73, 20, 23, 56, 96, 620, 244, 1040, 640, 200, 260, 700, 737, 180, 14,400. What do you have? What do we have? Very fast. To 𝐎𝐍𝐋𝐈𝐍. Who will give me that? What will make a tap? So Mwalimu has already gotten it for 407,400. So this is the total investment allowance for 2022. Give me a yes if you're together. Yes, thank you for supporting that. So then what is the marking point? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So tumemaliza 2022. And these are the marking points for that. That is the solution for 2022. We have the total figure 14,407,400. Together, team, we respond with a yes. That is the investment allowance for 2020, for 2022. Understood. Which method is easier? Doing them separately or doing them the same? Having just one sheet and doing them as they are. Which method is much better? Is it the first method that we separated ID separate, IBD and wear and tear separate? This should be much easier. You just have everything and you sort it under one sheet. Perfect. So then 2023, I want to use the same. What do I need? I don't need this information. I will remove it because I don't need this information. Those rates are okay. So I'll change this to 2020, 2023. Together, team. Are we together? So I'm done with 2022, 2023 now. Team, Tukosawa, I need that yes kindly. So if you look at items, that is the ID, we are told that 50%, we are told that 50% in the first year and 25% per annum on a straight line on the remaining balance. So for the factory building, under this part now, we are going to have what? The remaining balance. What is the remaining balance? That is 73.20. The second year, we get 25% on the straight line. So what is the investment allowance for the factory building? Investment allowance for the factory building for the second year. For the second year, what is the figure for that? So the second year, we say that 25% per annum on a straight line on the remaining balance. What is the remaining balance? The remaining balance is now 73.20. We get 25%. What is that 25% of that? So we have investment allowance for that on the second year to be 18. So what is the balance? You less that. So that is 73.20 minus, so this should be 54.90 together. Are we together on that first one? When you're quiet, we cannot do anything. When you don't participate, we cannot make it. You have to participate. When you're quiet, when you're not responding, we cannot do anything. So I'm saying that when you talk about for the ID, for the farm work deduction, and for the mining, the first year we granted 50%. However, for the second year, we granted 25% per annum on a straight line on the remaining balance. That's why I picked the remaining balance of 73.20. I grant at 25%. Again, processing machine is also ID. So the remaining balance is 23.56. The second year now we grant it at 25%. So what is 25% of that? What is 25% of that? That is 589. So 589 minus 23.56. Thank you so much. 1769. Perfect. Thank you so much. So the next we have what we call computer. Computer is a straight line. If it's a straight line, the qualifying amount is still the same? The same. So how much was 25? That should be 96. 96. Because it's 25% on a straight line. If it's still a straight line, it basically means that the investment allowance will be the same for the 4 years. The only thing that is going to change is that from 288, we less 96. We less the figure of 96. So this should be 190, 192. Understood? When you say on a straight line, it means for the wear and tear, if there's no disposal, then the rate should be the same on a yearly basis. Then we come to this. We come to the conveyor belt. Conveyor belt is now the ID. So we pick the balance. That is now what you use. So 620, we get 25% now. So what is 25% of 620? 25%. If you don't participate, it is very hard to move. If you don't participate, if you don't ask questions, it is extremely hard to learn. So that should be 155, 155. So 155 minus 620, what is the balance? $465 together. So for the staff canteen is the same thing because it's 10 staff is 10% on the straight line. 10% on the straight line, that should also be 240. So the only thing we less that from that. So 2196 minus 244. So this should be 1952. So that should be okay. So the next is delivery van. Hold on this. There was a disposal. For the delivery van, hold on it. Together, hold it there for the delivery van. Delivery van, you can hold it there. Are we together for the delivery van? Delivery van, we can hold it there. Are we there for the delivery van? Or we can just get it. But then we have the disposal down there. So again, that should be 10. That should also be 10. The two methods of doing this, 10, 10, 040, 10, 040. So what is the balance when you less that? 10, 040, 10, 040. Times 040. These figures I'm getting, are we together? Are we together on those figures? I need a yes. Are we together on those figures that I'm getting? Mpaka hapa tuko sawa? Alan, tuko sawa? Dennis, tuko sawa? Davis, tuko sawa? Edith, are we together? Galma, are we together? Ida, are we together? Abia, are we together? Joy, are we together? Zipporah, are we together? Kindly, by the mercies of God, participate. So then I move to the next, we have the sewerage. Sewerage is ID. So we use the remaining balance. So that should be 640. So 640 for the second year, that is going to be 25%. So 25%, that should be 160. So 160. What is the balance here? Abia, balance ni ngapi hapo? Abia, what is the balance there? That is 480. So I proceed to generator. This now should be still ID because this is manufacturing. So we use the bar, the balance. The balance is 200,000. For the second year now we use 25%. So that should be 50. So 50, what is the balance, Zipporah? Zipporah, what balance do you have there? Zipporah, what is the balance? Zipporah, that should be 150. 150. So for the go down, what is the investment allowance and why? Abia, Ama Matsura. Matsura. What is the investment allowance for the go down now for the second year, that is 2023? For the second year, Abia. What is the investment allowance for the go down? Matsura and Abia. Joy, I have an issue. Joy. Now I'm getting new people. Yes. Matsura, what is the investment allowance for the go down now on the second year? On the second year, what is the investment allowance? That was the remaining balance. But how do you get investment allowance for the building? That is the IPT. Davis, can you give me that? What is the investment allowance now for 260? Why 260, Joy? Because it's granted on a straight line. If depreciation is on a straight line, the asset value is 10,000 and depreciation is provided at the straight line. So that should be 240. Again, 240. That should remain the same. The same. When you less 260 minus 23, what is the remaining? Minus 260 on this. What is remaining? What is the figure? So you say 2080. So the next is eating plant. That was eating plant. That was basically eating plant. So we use 700. So second year, that should be 25%. So what is 25% of 700? Is it 175? That should definitely be 175. So 175 minus that should be 525. 525. 525. 525. Together, that should be 525. What is the rolling? Our lorry. It should just be the same for the lorry. The lorry should be the same. Again, this should be 737. Then this one less 737. So 22, 11. So we have this as 14, 1474. Perfect. Then you have the next, that is sports pavilion. Again, it's on a straight line, the figure should be 180. So 1620 minus 180. This should be 14. Together. Then this is also on a straight line. That is 14,400. Then you less 129. 129, 600 minus the 14,400. So this should be 115. Up to this point, kuna mtu ana swali? Is there anybody with a question up to this point? Is there anybody with a question? Nani ana swali? Is there anybody with a question? So that is for 2023. We are not done. Is everybody okay? Is everybody okay? Is everybody okay? Kuna mtu ana swali? Is there anybody with a question? Is there anybody with a question? Is there anybody with a question? You respond so that we can move. Are we okay? All of us, if you're okay, we type a yes. All of us, if you're okay, we type a yes. All of us, if you're okay, then we type a yes. Galma, are you okay? Edith, are you okay? You just give me a yes. Today you're a bit tired. I don't know why. So then we introduced this for 2023. For 2023, we introduced those furniture. So just come here and say furniture. Furniture. The figure for the furniture is 224. We know that furniture is 10%. We know that the furniture is 10%. So this should be 22,400. So when you less that, what is the residual? What is the residual? So what is the balance? So saloon car, we know that this is restricted to 1,600. To 1,600. Saloon car is restricted, so we have it as 3 million. If the value is more than that, then 25%, that should be 750. So 750, that should be 2250. Perfect. So 2250, we can add it there. Then we have the next, that is boiler. Boiler. So boiler was 768. We understand that that is 50%. What is 50% of that? 50% ni ngapi? 50% ni ngapi? 50% ni ngapi? 384. So the balance is 384. So we still have space there. We have scanners. Scanners, we understand, is 25%. So that is 112. What is 25% of that? 112, 25% of it. %. 28. So what is the balance? What is the balance? 84. Perfect. So I can, instead of having to go to another page, let's just extend this and introduce those items here. We just extend. We just say it's 2023 here. So then I introduce those other items. So the next that we have, because of the space, the next that we have is what we call wheelbarrow. So I can introduce the wheelbarrow here. So wheelbarrow. So wheelbarrow is wheelbarrow. So we have the wheelbarrow. What is the figure for the wheelbarrow? That is 180. 180, 10%, that should be 18,000. So what is the balance for the wheelbarrow? The balance should be 160, 162. Together. Are we together? I hope we are together. So then the next we have packaging machine. Packaging machine. We have the packaging machine. So packaging machine, this is 1.2. We know that that is 50%. 50%. So the balance is 600 together for the packaging machine. All of us, are we together? We respond with a yes. Are we together? Alan, tuko sawa? Asante. So then we have the staff clinic, John's portion, staff clinic, staff clinic, staff clinic. That is 20, 80. Then you have it as 10%. That is 208. Somebody need to give me the balance. Mtu anipatie balance. Staff clinic. Give me the balance kindly. 2,080,000. Then you left 208,000. So that is 1872. We have 1872. Then we have the next. We have what's called a borehole. Borehole. So borehole is 800. So borehole we know is IG. So that should be 50%. So that is 400. 400. That should be 400. So the next is basically disposal. We call it disposal. This is disposal. Disposal. That is basically disposal. So the disposal of, we have that's one delivery. Delivery van. Delivery van. So what are the figure for the disposal? So that figure is 1.4. 1.4. The figure is 1.4. The figure is basically 1.4. Are we together? 1.4. So 1.4. What is 25% of that? 25%. 25% of 1.4. So that began. So then we have the next. So we could have adjusted it here by saying, look up 1.4 minus, what would we have done? Minus 1.4 minus the figure that we had minus this, and then you get that. Then we can have the last one, that is perimeter wall. We have it as perimeter wall. So perimeter wall is 1.2. So 1.2. 1.2, that should be 50%. So 50%, that should be 600. Balance here is 600. 600. The balance is 600. Together. Have we put everything there? Have we put everything there? Have we sorted everything there? Is everything sorted? Is everything sorted? Have we sorted everything? Have we put everything? Is everything sorted? Is there an item that I've left? Is there an item that I've left? I'm asking a question. Is there an item that I've left? None. So then you can do for me summary of the investment allowance. Remember this 2023 totals. So we have 600 minus 350, 400, 208, 618, 1830, 589, 26, 296, 155, 244, 10040, 10040, 10040. Then we have 160, 50, 260, 175, 737, 180, 14,400, 22,400, 750, 384, and 28. So get for me the total for the investment allowance. Get me the total for the investment allowance. Total for the if you give the summary, what is the summary? What is the summary? Good people, what is the summary? Take your time. I see guys taking a lot of the time. Take your time, you'll get from that. So what is a marking point? Those ones, I don't know whether you people are tired today. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3. So 23. The other one, this is 23 entries. 23 entries, and the other one was for 2022 was 13 entries. So there was 23 entries and 13 entries. So this is 36 entries. How many marks was that question? How many marks was that question? So for 2022, we had 13 entries. How many marks? How many marks was that question? So 36, simply say 36 times a third. Each entry was a third. So for you to get 1 mark, then you have 3 entries. So 36 times a third, that gives us 12 marks. That's how that was distributed. So we marked the investment allowance